Hey guys, this is Professor Eric Roldan. This is Intermediate Algebra, section 5.3. And this video is just gonna go over the techniques of 5.3, which is gonna be slightly different from 5.2. Okay, so let me show you that difference right now. So in this section, we're also factoring. But notice that A does not equal 1. So remember, you have A, B, C, first, second, and third coefficients. And so last time we factored something like this. And you can see that the A equals a 1. So here's A, B, C. So we didn't really pay any attention to the A because we just saw x squared, and we just went ahead and did this. Okay, paying no regard to A, and then we just go ahead and factor 6. Factors of 6 that give us 5. So remember, we have 1 and 6, 2 and 3, and because of this sign, we are adding our factors, not subtracting, so that means this is what's going to give us our 5. If you subtracted, you would have to use the other pair, 1 and 6, because 6 minus 1 is 5. But because we're adding, we're going to use 2 and 3. So if we put an A that was not 1, then we have to kind of tweak our strategy slightly, okay? So that's what this is going to talk about. So let me just remind you about the FOIL. All right, so if you take a look, it's, remember the first terms, outer, inner, last. So that's 3x squared, negative 12x, positive 2x, and negative 8. And so let's analyze these real quick here. So we notice if we multiply, okay, so let's look at this, observations. If we do F times L, so basically those two, we have 24. Okay, well, let me go back. So we have 8 times 3 is 24. And notice that O times I is also 24. Actually, negative 24, right? So definitely we have 24. We have two different factors of 24 right here. Okay? But notice that out of those factors of 24, and if we finish this, this is going to be 3x squared minus 10x minus 8. So notice that out of the factors of 24, what we need for an answer would be negative 12 and 2, because that's what makes the negative 10. All right, so that's the kind of the approach we're going to do. We're going to multiply a times c, okay? Because if you notice that a times c is going to give you this 24, but then we're going to choose the factors of that give us the middle term. Okay, and then we'll do an extra step after that. So let's take a look. Okay, so we're going to do a times c and that's going to give us 14. Okay? Now, so instead of using 7, we have to use both a and c, the 2 and the 7. That's going to create 14. And so we're trying to get this middle term, which is 15, out of the 14. So remember, 1 times 14, 2 times 7. And since we're adding here, then if I add this one right here, that's going to give me 15 that I need. So what we're going to do is we're going to save this 2. We're not going to use the 2 right now. We're going to pretend this is a normal factoring situation. We're going to go ahead and use the 1 and the 4. I'm sorry, the 1 and the 14. But we all know that that's not going to be the answer. Okay, that's not going to produce the answer that we need. But it's pretty close. What we're missing is this 2. This 2 is going to come right under here. We're going to divide by 2 right here. And what happens is, if you can divide by 2, so let's see, 14 divided by 2, that's a whole number, 7. There's our answer. But since we can't divide 2 into 1, this 2 is just going to come right back up to the front. And there's our answer. So let me prove to you that this works. So if we check it, and we do 2x times x is 2x squared, 2x times 7 is 14, x, 1 times x is x, and 1 times 7 is 7. This is 15 right here. And it checks. Okay? So that's the procedure we're going to be using. At least I'm going to be using. You can use other ones. So the book has a couple other methods. They take longer, but you might like them. I don't know. So if you click on the help, the first one's called trial and error. And that's basically, figure out the puzzle yourself. Okay? The other one is called grouping. And that has a certain procedure. It requires GCFs and whatnot. So you're welcome to use one of those, but that's not what we're going to be doing here, okay? So this is the simplest, shortest way to get this accomplished, okay? So let me try to do one more a little bit faster to see. So we're going to do a times c. So we're going to do 28. And we're trying to get a negative 11. So 1 and 28, 2 and 14. 4 and 7. Okay. So because this is positive, we're going to be adding over here. So which one adds to 11? That would be this one. So how do I get negative 11? Both of them need to be negative. So I just come over here, put x minus 4, x minus 7 like normal, but then I gotta bring this 7 down under and try to come up with some whole numbers. Well, the whole number is on the right. That's 7 divided by 7 is 1. This 7 cannot be divided into 4, so we're going to bring it back up to the front, and we're done. Okay? Probably did that in about 20, 30 seconds right there. So you can compare this method to trial and error grouping or any other box method or crisscross method if you want. But I would argue that this method is the quickest and simplest way to do it. Okay? So I'm going to continue with this approach. So we can slow it down a little bit more for the next ones. Okay, so if we take a look at C, again, we're going to use the factors of A and C, okay? We're going to multiply A and C. So if I try to do this through steps, I say, wait a second, okay, what are the actual steps? So the short version of this is basically say, so what I just did was multiply A times C, okay? So remember, A, B, C. So A times C would be negative 10, okay? And then the list of factors, or choose factors of AC that combine to get the middle term, B. Okay, so B is 9. Okay? Now, because that's a minus, we're going to be subtracting. So when I list the factors of 10, I'm not going to be adding those, because if I add, I will get 11 and 10. And I would not be able to get 9. But if I subtract this one, that'll give me 9. Okay? Is it 1 minus 10 or 10 minus 1? So because that's a positive 9, it's going to be 10 minus 1. So I just chose it. So now I'm going to just going to go ahead and write pairs of binomials with factors So there's my first factor, x minus 1, x plus 10. So the next step would be to divide by A. So in this case, that would be 2. I'm going to divide by the 2. That's going to create whole numbers right here. And if it's not a whole number, then bring it back up, okay? In other words, this 2 is going to go back up here since you can't divide it into the 1, okay? So if it's not a whole number, put a back in front of x. Okay, it takes longer to explain it than it is to show it. Once you get the hang of it, trust me, it's going to be, like I said, the quickest and easiest way to do it compared to the other 3 or 4 methods out there. Okay, if you Google this or if you look in the book. All right. So why don't you try D? Pause the video. Try to get D, and then unpause it and see if you got the right answer. All right, we're back. Hopefully you had a chance to do letter D on your own. And as you can see, it only required me to do the chart as normal and 2 lines of work, okay? I'm telling you, it's the shortest, quickest way once you get the hang of it compared to other methods. So hopefully you got this right. If not, let me know if you're having issues with this, but we'll talk about this in class when we get back on Wednesday. So if you want, so we can have a basis for discussion besides those 4 problems, if you could go ahead and try. This is going to be, you can call this your homework. Just be ready to discuss these. Yeah, we're going to do A, C, E, G, and I, okay? If you can try those, and we will discuss those when we get back to class and see how you did, all right? This is a very important section for college algebra, so do your best. Email me if you have any questions, and we'll see you soon. Take care. Have a good one.